Yeah, I think it's working now. I'll just check. Yeah, we're all good.
We're all good, right? Guys, there, Zach, James, Earls, Niall, anybody else listening? Give us a quick wee message in the meet chat whenever you hear us, and it's bad. If it's not bad, just leave it and we'll talk away. So we got a couple of things to get through. In a break from tradition, we're not going to open with the power rankings this week, and the reason for that is we have something else that is much more pressing to discuss. We're calling it the 2 weeks of doom, although really it could stretch to 3 weeks. Weeks 9 through 11, 9, 10, and 11. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 losses between player teams. Now, obviously, some of those were,
The other player teams.
yeah, like the Saints and the Giants. That's one loss, but it was a win for Zach, where it was a loss for Adam. But there's 10 wins in a 3 week, or 10 losses, sorry, in a 3 week period. Those are Niall losing to Green Bay, Zach losing to Philadelphia. Obviously, the Raiders losing 3 whole games. Two of them are the player teams, to be fair. John lost to Miami. Stoops lost to Seattle, Lynn and Philly. James Cameron lost to Cleveland, and Adam lost to Zach Giants. So first of all, the only team that didn't lose, and power rankings are coming out shortly, the only team that didn't lose in that 3 week stretch are the Dallas Cowboys. Spoilers. Everybody has suffered at least one loss in the last 3 weeks. Daniel, you've got the standings, how that leaves teams, the stats. Take it away with the 3 weeks of doom.
New Orleans, I don't think was that bad. New Orleans lost to Giants. Zach just ran over him, literally, with Barkley. Adams obviously dealing with a bit of a quarterback issue at the minute with no Jordan Love. I don't think Dalton was terrible. I don't think it was great. It just seemed like a bit of an off game for Adam, but I think Adam would rather get it out of the way in week 10 than, you know, conference weekend. But
Yeah, yeah.
again, not a bad game from Adam. Happy for Zach more than anything.
Yeah,
Nice for Zach
we'll
to
get
get
to
a
that
big
and
win.
hold some content later on. Yes, that was, yeah. I mean,
But
that
other than
was
that,
what it was.
Adam has blown out Atlanta to recover. He's going to beat Tampa this week. Still think Adam's on for the 1 seed. Not overly worried about Adam. Chicago, again, a typical irritating loss to Green Bay. 14 points, not good at all. But then again, bounce back. Baltimore game won convincingly. Minnesota game won relatively convincingly. Could have been a wee bit more convincing maybe, but I think now I'll be happy to get the back-to-back wins again. A big week this week with Detroit. I think if Niall can win it, he goes about 2 games clear, top of his division. Let's see his division. Yeah, if Niall wins this, he will move to 7 wins. Detroit are on 4, so he'd be pretty well set to win that division at 11-5, 10-6. Denver's been fantastic last couple of weeks. Again, but you look at Denver and you look at that. How can that same team that beat the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Raiders beat every team in their division in a 4 week span, lose 26-6 to Cleveland?
That was what he called. That was
Just
the Drew Lock game.
It just worries
When
you that what if that's the team that turns up on wildcard weekend?
Yeah, no, I mean there is
Well,
that concern a little bit, but I
which
will say
Denver
that it
team are we
was
going to get in the playoffs? You
it
don't
was
know
it
with the
was his
week.
backup QB, to be fair. Without his backup QB, he's
Dallas,
on a long win streak.
Dallas were absolutely fantastic last couple of weeks. Blew Oakland out. Philly game was so close, but it was a close win, so nobody gives a shit how close it was. It was a win over your biggest divisional rival right now. Tampa Bay, big win. Again, huge game this week for James. If he plays Philly. If he wins it, he is 5 games clear of Philadelphia. Potentially 4 clear of Zach if Zach wins. And again, you're talking about being like 4 games clear of your divisional rivals with 5 games to go. It's then if James wins this week and Zach loses, I think James wins his division, does he? James will be on
Uh,
10 wins.
it's
Everybody else will be on 5 or
I
5 games. He
will
would.
When we get through the power rankings, I'll talk about James's chances of winning the division. They have been scuppered slightly at this stage
If
because
James,
Stoops gave the Eagles a win that they shouldn't have had.
yeah, if James beats Philly this week, it's pretty much a matter of when, not if. He clinches, which is fantastic news for James. The Giants will be kind of hoping that James wins this week.
Yeah,
Zach
kind
really
of, yeah.
do with Philadelphia dropping a couple of games. Obviously, I think Zach has to play Philly again for the end of the season, but a couple of Philly losses would really do Zach good in clinching a wild card spot. Wild card wise, Zach is on the out. Is Zach? No, Zach's on the outside looking in right now. The wild cards
Because
are
of the two losses to Philadelphia, that yes, he's on the outside looking in, but it's in his
Carolina
hands
are
to change that.
likely making the playoffs at 8-3, which means the East runners up or the West runners up are getting in. So not only does Zach have to beat out Philadelphia, he'll have to beat out Arizona/Seattle later in the year, which is going to be tough. Oakland, tough games. It's not looking great for the Raiders. Let's be brutally honest. I think we maybe do need a bit of change, not coaching wise, but Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr the guy? There's a couple of pieces in that offense that don't fill me with any sort of confidence. It might be time to start flipping that roster a wee bit in the off season. Like, they're not making the playoffs this year.
If they do, they'll be smashing. I mean, they'll be making history. It's not going to happen now.
They're 1-9. If they lose this week, they're a full game behind the Chiefs. Like, the most they can go now is 7-9, and they'd have to win out. The Chargers already have 5 wins. In fact, they are, what do you call it? I don't think they can make the playoffs now.
That I have to total that up. I've got the standings, but I haven't checked
wins. Houston have 9 wins, so they.
Oh, 2 seconds. I can check that for you now.
They're both clear.
No, they can still make the playoffs because what do you call it? The way that I see it, this Baltimore, the 6th seed, with 6 wins, and they can finish 6-10 still, and Oakland can finish 7-9. So it's highly improbable.
Baltimore have to play Pittsburgh or Cleveland, and if Baltimore lose, that team's on 7.
Yes, I did say highly improbable.
Yes,
but not mathematically eliminated.
Oakland are not a playoff team this year. That's guaranteed in my eyes. It may be time to start looking at not tanking, but where you're going in the draft. Is there anybody who's currently on roster that when the trade deadline reopens, we flip them and we start to move that roster around a little bit? There are a few players in that roster that I look at and think, yeah, not bad. But there's also a couple of players in that roster that I think, okay, they're not getting any better. Like Josh Jacobs, I like. Allen Robinson, I like. What do you call it? Anthony Miller, I like. Darren Waller, I like. On the defensive side of the ball, I like Max Crosby. I like Jonathan Abram. I like Akilo Witherspoon. There are pieces there, but it's went from pieces like playoff pieces to bits and pieces where you look at maybe 6 or 7 starters over both sides of the ball that you don't want to bring back next year. And again, it's looking from my quick glance over the playoffs there. Nick is currently in the hot seat for the number 1 pick. So it's really about what Nick does with that. Does Nick maybe want to ship a guy like Derek Carr and get another first rounder? Does he maybe want to move down from number 1 overall? Although it's going to be a hard sell to the fans to finish with 1 win and say, no, we don't need the number 1 overall pick. Like, do you maybe move down to 10 or 11 and grab a couple of mid-round picks in the 2nd? Or maybe you trade the 2nd overall pick for a 2nd rounder and a player, get a piece that you want.
Yeah, flip a couple of things.
But that roster needs flipped. You can't go if they do go 1-15, 2-14, surely there is that feeling that, okay, we have to flip the roster. You can't just... There's not enough young pieces. Like, Derek Carr's in the league a good couple of years. He's won a Super Bowl. Josh Jacobs, good couple of years in the league. Allen Robinson's a veteran. There's not enough young pieces in the team to just go, look, they're getting better next year. Derek Carr will not be that much different next year than he was this year.
Have you got anything else to discuss in the weeks? Because I could share the power rankings and then we're good to go.
The only one I haven't talked about is the one I want to talk about, last is Arizona.
Yeah, good, because after the power rankings, we're circling right round to Arizona. They are
We'll
going to be
leave
under
Arizona,
the
and we'll
microscope.
talk about them.
Oh,
We will
fair,
talk
okay.
about Arizona later on.
Right, okay.
'Cause it's going to be a long talk about Arizona.
Uh, I'm just reading the meat chat. To keep it safe for work, yeah, the Bears are flaunting Fletcher Cox to the Raiders. While it wouldn't help the Raiders get any younger, it's maybe something the Raiders can consider, contemplate. Might be helpful. So, power rankings go
I
up
think
now.
Fletcher Cox would be a bad idea for the Raiders. I think you just get a guy who...
You just get Cap, really, at
You
this
get
stage.
another 1 year piece that you
But that's how
Fletcher Cox is great for next year if you're contending next year.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Cox
Nick
puts
has got
Nick
to
over
look
the
at
edge.
next year and think
Oh,
the
not
Raiders
Nick, rather.
next year
Aye.
have to be a 6-win team.
Next year.
Is it worth?
Yeah.
Is it worth giving up a good draft pick, because it would be a good draft pick, for a player to get you to 6 wins? Would you not rather draft a D lineman if you really need a DT? Get a DT at the top of the second round and develop him, rather than if you acquire Fletcher Cox, he has 1 year left in his contract. You're bringing Fletcher Cox in to play 16 games. Realistically, if you trading like a second round pick for Fletcher Cox means that you think you're making the playoffs next year with him. The worry is you trade for Fletcher Cox, still only go 6-10, and then you're sitting there with a 6-10 team. Fletcher Cox either needs to leave on a free or be signed to a massive fucking contract.
See,
You
Fletcher
give up
Cox,
a
for
pick.
me, he puts Niall over the edge. Fletcher Cox doesn't put Nick over the edge. He's not that sort of piece that's going to change the Raiders. But he flipped the Bears.
No.
I got the power rankings
No,
live
he
now in the group
flipped-
chat if you want to have a
He
look.
flipped a 9-7 Bears team to a 10-6 Bears team. You don't go and get a 31-year-old D tackle on a contract year at 1-15.
Have you got the PDF open, Dan?
I'm getting it open now.
You and I have discussed them already. I'll fly through these because, well, they're up and you can have a look. And I want to get Niall on the next 5 or 10 minutes so we can chat Arizona and
Yes, are we
shiz.
going 8-1?
Yeah, we'll go 8-1. 8 is the Raiders. Daniel's already talked about the potential of a rebuild and what's going to happen next year.
I think it has to happen. I think if Nick had went 5-11, or if Nick goes 5-11 this year,
Yeah.
which would be a lot at this point, if Nick wins 4 of his next 6, he can maybe go, look, 5 wins, we're close. But if he wins less than 5 games this year, I think if you're talking 3-13, that's a rebuild.
Yeah, with
Arizona
the,
Cardinals.
just with regards to the Raiders, the receivers are playing better. But
Arizona Cardinals.
oh, let's leave the Cardinals because, like I said, we're going to get into them
Yeah,
shortly.
that's going to be a long talk. Bears season comes down to the rest of their divisional games and their PvP game with Stoops.
Yeah, Niall's at 6, but I can put Niall at 4 if he's the NFC North champion. He beats Stoops to go 1-1 in player games and goes into the playoffs as like the 4 seed.
Left? Can you check that for me?
Yeah, I can. Niall's remaining schedule is at Detroit this week.
Yep.
Then Pittsburgh, Seattle, Arizona. Okay, so he's at Detroit this week, and then he plays Green Bay at Soldier Field on the last day.
Right, so he's 2 divisional games and Stoops.
Yeah. If he wins the 3 of
wins
those,
both
he's doing well,
divisional
yeah.
games
Yeah.
and Stoops, he will be 9 wins. So all we have to do is win 1 other game.
Okay. With
Really.
regards to...
His division's quite poor this year. He's the only team with a winning record. Right now, Niall needs to focus up and say, right, okay, we have 6 games to go. Let's win 4 of them.
If he'd have just won the Green Bay game, you know the one I'm talking about, where he
Yes,
spent
it
7
just
minutes
gives
with the
us a
ball
wee
and
bit
threw a
of-
pick. If he wins the Green
Yeah.
Bay game, he's laughing. He's so clear at the top of his division.
Well, he just needs to win 2 divisional games in Stoops and then 1 of his other 3.
Yeah,
And
and then
goes
he's
10
fine.
10 and
Yeah.
6, and there's no way anybody else in that division is getting 10 wins. In fact, only if Niall wins this week, he clinches, or if he wins this week and those 2 games, he clinches.
Aye, but he won't clinch until late because of the way that the games fall in the
Because he
schedule.
would be 9
Yeah.
and 7, and Detroit can only get 10. Would only be able to get 9 wins. Detroit or Green Bay can't get 10 wins.
Yes,
Niall knows now a win over Detroit and 10 and 6 gets him in as the divisional winner.
100%. It's all about finishing
Just
strongly, and then he can bump them up.
Just go get it. Go and get those divisional wins and a big PvP win, and you roll into the playoffs not as, oh well, they got in. You roll in as they're here to play.
They took some names. The Stoops game is huge for me. So the Giants 5 seems criminally low, but at the same time,
Well done.
yeah.
Well done, Giants.
I mean,
Jobless.
if they beat the Raiders, Cowboys, and Broncos, they're going to be in 4, possibly higher, depending on if one of the 3 flakes out. I don't see that. Like, it's really hard to crack the top 3. Those 3 are the best teams for me in the league.
Yeah.
You can dispute the order. I think each of them has had a power rankings placement at number 1. The Giants have got the MVP. And if they just string a couple more consistent performances together, the way I put it, the reason that James Cameron's Broncos are ahead of the Giants,
Zach is going to be kicking himself that he went 0-2.
Yeah, and it's just because it was his rookie season, and that'll not happen again. I know.
Again, that's why I look at next year for the Giants and think next year they're a 10-win team. If they keep this up.
Next year they'll be in contention for the division. It never felt like they were this year, although they still have an outside chance. Next year feels like it'll be a 2-team shootout. I can't wait.
James has been winning his close games. If he beats Eagles tonight, it's pretty much over. He's 10-1.
At the moment, provided Drew Lock doesn't play, I can see Zach losing a game 17-14. I can't see James Cameron losing a game like that.
5-5. If James Earls wins in like half an hour when he plays the Eagles, a 5-5 team is not jumping over a 10-1
team. Yeah, I know. But it's all about can James beat the Eagles? Woo!
If James beats the Eagles, he's going at worst 13-3. He's losing to Adam and someone else.
I need to check. I'm not sure. I think if James beats the Eagles and Nick beats Zach, admittedly Zach is the favourite in that game, James will win. It says here James is going to win the NFC East shortly.
Again, yeah, it's over. If James wins tonight.
It's the lowest that Adam has been in the power rankings, and I feel like he's in the correct position considering recent events.
If James
he's still my pick to win the Super Bowl. I'm not changing that.
Tonight, he's still going to. I think if James loses tonight, he's still going to win the East. I just think you
yes, it's about getting it quickly. Yeah, that's what you said with the Bears. It's momentum. Yeah.
If James goes 14-2 and his only other loss is the Adam, you go into the playoffs as like a start. Well, you're the 2 seed for a start, which is what you want in the NFC. You want to avoid Adam until the last possible.
Do you agree with my statement there? Anzalone's been quiet since the Giants game. I felt like he was emasculated by Barkley, and he hasn't been a factor as much since. Don't get me wrong, he
is more of a pass coverage linebacker than he is a run stuffing linebacker.
Because they're run stuffing linebackers to Mario Davis at 408 years old.
Yeah, Denver, coach of the year. Denver have the coach of the year.
Probably. I'll tell you how it's so easy.
Denver
I'm just getting on to
start stringing 3 wins together, not 2. They always string 2 wins together and then lose one. It needs to be 3, then lose one.
Drop a clanger. The Texans should be the top of this power rankings. See if he punts and DeAndre Hopkins comes back and is on form. They should be the 1 ranking in the power rankings from here on out. But John won't punt, and I don't know what he's going to do with Hopkins and Fuller.
No. You can only throw the post to 1. Put it that way. But I
think James Earls is. I mean, you can read what I've put there. I think he's a worthy.
And I know John plays John's way, and that's fair enough. But John needs to learn to play a bit smarter football. And the thing is, we know that John will punt in the playoffs. John will play football in the playoffs, but
that's what I don't get.
That's why you're not top of the power rankings. You know, because it's the regular season power rankings. It's not the playoff power rankings. It's the regular season power rankings. And regular season wise, he threw a game away against Miami by going, no, I need to score now.
If he punts against Miami, he wins that comfortably.
Probably, because he's won.
And with these rankings, I have to expect that he won't punt in the playoffs. We know he will, but I have to. The rankings are as if he wouldn't. For me,
James Earls at 1.
Yeah, I love that. He's the longest. Yep, he survived the 3 weeks of doom.
Doing it without Harrison Smith, and yes,
yeah. He went 3-0 in player games as well. He hasn't lost a player game, and he's played multiple.
He will not be top of the power rankings if he loses to the Eagles tonight. Just letting you know, James. Don't lose tonight.
Oh, the next power rankings aren't out until week 17.
Don't do it. I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm not going to lie. I am a traditionalist in the sense that I love the power rankings.
A sniff at the division.
But when we get to week 17, the divisional winners will be ranked highest.
Bench Dak, bench Zeke, get 13 wins early, go into the Allen game with your backup in, relax, you've got the 2 seed on lock, there's not really that many, and this is no criticism to the Bears or to Seattle, but realistically, Panthers can't get the 1 seed or the 2 seed because they're going to be a wildcard team. James is 3 wins clear of Seattle and 3 wins clear of Chicago. If James wins tonight, once you get that 12th or 13th win, say James is sitting 13-1, flying, he knows he's got the 1 seed locked or the 2 seed locked up.
Yeah.
Even if he loses the Adam. So you just bench people. Just go 13-3 and have a healthy Daxig and Coop going into the playoffs. You're not going to get the 1 seed.
Let Laviska Shenault, the missing link, carry the team.
Yeah, get the home field advantage and relax.
Right,
but if you lose tonight, it starts to be just a wee bit worrying.
I'm going to chat Cardinals for like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to chat an overview of the Cardinals for 2 or 3 minutes, then we'll bring Niall on, chat some Cardinals with him, and then I'm going to turn Niall loose for like 10 minutes to see what he comes up with. Then we'll finish with wholesome content, probably after he goes on his call. So Cardinals, I'll give you the rundown of the sound bites first, and then you can give me your 2 cents. So I got, as you'd expect for a team that's, I mean, what's their record now? Are they 6-5? Are they 5-5?
They're
5-5, right there, right. So 5-5. Here's
they should be 6 and something or 7 and something, but they're 5-5.
Yeah, here's their 5 reasons that they're 5 wins, and here's 5 wins where they've lost 5 games. They're called the most improved team from last year in the CFM. I think that's without doubt. Trubisky might be the best, most improved player, but the most improved team.
They're the most improved. There's no competition.
Adam
can't improve.
John could
improve. He won Super Bowl last year. John can't really improve because John was like 14-1 anyway. Zach wasn't here last year. James Cameron wasn't here last year. James Earls wasn't here last year. And Chicago are roughly where they were.
Stoops, you know it's going to be a great podcast when we do your 5 positives and 1 positive in. Daniel's turned it into a negative.
What did Stoops finish last year record wise? 10-5-1?
10-5-1, and he's now 5-5, so he's lost the same amount of games he did last year. Yeah.
But he's the most improved.
I didn't call him the most improved.
If Stoops wins out, he finishes half a win better than last year, but he's the most improved in the league.
So the other things he's got there.
So what's the most improved coach and the most improved team in this league flipped a tie into a win.
If he wins out,
that's it. And he may not win his division. He went from leading his
winning his division to not, but he's the most improved.
Can you imagine if he goes 10-6 and finishes second in that division? So you've dropped from first to second, and you've flipped a tie and a loss, and you're the most improved.
The other positives are that he's got a great running back room. He has nice
Kenyon
receivers.
And the Ronald Jones trade was great.
He doesn't have a number 1 receiver. Now I know Kirk has loads of talent, but you couldn't tell me, if I was to watch the game as not a Cardinals fan, you couldn't tell me who the number 1 wideout was.
I like Kirk, and I think the main point of that is he's not paying anybody like a number 1 receiver. I think that's a bit harsh to say he doesn't have a number 1.
No, it was meant as a positive.
He doesn't have an AJ Green X receiver that's going to go outside the numbers like a Julio and go and get 10 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, running 9s, posts and ends. Fair enough, but he has a number 1 guy.
The negatives there. Oh, sorry. The last positive is just that Kyler Murray's balling out, and I like that. I think he's a Pro Bowl quarterback this year, believe it or not, despite some of the decisions. No, if you take the errant coach decisions out, I think he's throwing the ball and run about as well as he can be.
You can't say he's a playoff quarterback if you take the picks out. You know.
No, I didn't say he's a playoff quarterback.
Or a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, you'd like to hope he'd be both. I don't see him missing the playoffs and then being in the Pro Bowl.
The biggest negative that sums everything up is feast or famine. I love that term. Love that term.
Stop losing back-to-back games.
Yeah, stop losing games you shouldn't lose and then saying you hate yourself. It's still a loss.
Adam and John are the...
Yes, he lost to Adam and John, and that was okay.
Fair enough. Nobody has a problem with that. And then loses to Seattle and Philly back-to-back weeks.
Just to sum this up, Niall's team is...
both heartbreaking losses.
Niall's team is above the Cardinals team in the power rankings. Niall lost a backbreaker to Green Bay, and Stoops lost a backbreaker to Seattle. Niall rebounded with 2 wins. Stoops lost the following 2 games, so that's where it is. Just if you're wondering why Stoops is down from 4, you can't do that. You can't stack these L's and stay where you were.
You can't lose to Seattle. Then Seattle drop. Who did Seattle get beat by this week?
Seattle dropped a game, I think, to not Jacksonville. Yes, they dropped a game to somebody to leave the door open for him to get straight back in.
To drop in, and instead lost again.
Now Seattle, side note, Seattle are playing Seattle are playing Houston next, so John can do Big John a favour.
Like we talk about, you got to win the PvP games, you got to win these games, you got to win it. all you've really got to do in the NFC right now to get in the playoffs, go and win 10 games.
At the minute, yeah.
To get in the wild card, because realistically, Philadelphia are not winning 10 games. Zach will be hard pressed to win 10 games. And Carolina will win 10 games. So there's a playoff spot. The 6th seed is open to Philadelphia, New York, Arizona. Be
Yeah,
the team that wins 10 games.
that's my hot
and
take.
you're pretty much in.
The
fact,
Carolina
if you win 10
Panthers.
games in your Stoops, if you win 10 games in your Arizona, you might even win your division.
The Panthers are going to finish with the 5 seed. The 6 seed is open to everybody else.
The worst the Panthers will fall to is 10 wins in the 6th seed.
Last
The
two
very
things here
worst.
quickly. The defense is. I love this as well. The defense is okay. The defense will not lose you a game. The defense will not win you a game. The question.
Stop winning 9 games. People
Questionable
need to just
pass rush,
learn
though.
that 9 wins is a 500 record. It is. Oh well, it's not. It's not exactly 500. No, it's not. But no one is going. Oh my god, I went 9-7 this year. Just win 10 games. That's all a team has to do. You look at the AFC right now. Again, Jacksonville / Houston are getting into the playoffs with 10 wins. One of them is the winner of the South. One of them is the wild card. I think John's going to go on to win the South at like 15-1, 14-2. Jacksonville maybe finish 11-5, 12-4. You look at the LA Chargers and everybody in the AFC North. Win 10 games and you're in.
Oh, I've just decided what we're calling this episode of the stream. It's going to be Card Times. The game is still slowing down for Murray and Stoops, and I like that. It's in my negative column, but it's a positive. I still feel like Stoops is better. I know the record doesn't show it, Daniel, but I think Stoops is improved and Murray is improved, especially Murray as a thrower of the ball. The last wee thing there is just somebody's anonymous soundbite, which I love, is they are class for 80 yards and then they are wet spaghetti for the last 20. So I'm going to shoot Niall an invite now and we'll chat.
Locked up going into week 17 to, oh damn, results didn't go my way and I missed out.
Yeah. So yeah, Niall's coming on now. When he comes on, I just wish we had like a little soundboard where we could like clap him on with a studio audience, but the budget doesn't stretch that far, unfortunately. So when he's on, he'll chat for like, nah, it's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, Niall McKillop.
Let me just make sure I'm coming through. All right.
Please check. I was gonna say, can we do an audio check with you before we start?
Oh yeah, I think I'm coming through.
Anyway.
Hello, good to be here. Good to be here.
First of all, congratulations on being the first guest on, because we literally couldn't get Nick on. We tried everything we could and couldn't get him on live. But yeah, hi.
Yeah, it's a year full of firsts in Chicago.
It is indeed.
First guest, first potential divisional win.
Oh, the divisional title! It's so close. It's so close. Your path to it is so simple. It's straightforward as well.
So close. It's right there.
It is right there. I'm confident we'll get there.
Niall, give us as few as two sentences.
Now, James Earls has just put in the group there that just to let you know, we lose all audio when you aren't on the game.
Yeah,
yes,
so when you invited me into
I
the
popped
party.
off. They'll have lost like 2 sentences from you. Yeah, I figured they would, but I just
Yeah,
needed to
that's
invite now. Niall, in about 2 or 3 sentences, can you give us a wrap up? Maybe a bit of a band-aid, because we have got in quite harsh. Just give a little bit of aloe vera to Stoops, and then we'll get on to the Chicago Bears and anything else you want to discuss.
So, the Cardinals have similar issues to most second, third year teams.
Right, yeah.
It's not a disaster. In fact, he can outplay seasoned players like myself in areas of the game.
He ran Adam really close.
He did, and like I know everyone. When I said that, everyone laughed, but that is an actual like achievement for a second year coach. Because
Are we allowed to ask Niall questions?
No, not yet. No. He's talking about Arizona. Afterwards, we'll chat.
So
It's related to Arizona.
Yeah, let him finish
it. So, Adam has been to the Super Bowl every season he's been in. So that's not
apart from the year John beat him in the title.
Oh yes, apart from the year.
Yes, apart from that 1 year.
So that's not a nothing. Stoops has done really well there. He just needs to settle down inside the 20s. That's all he needs to do. And a lot of teams can be like that. Personally, I know my team always seems to get within the five. I never get in. I always get to the one, and then it's like, right, what do we do here? Because your space is so much tighter, and the game will slow down for him, and he has a lot of potential.
That's definitely nicer than most of the stuff we said. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right, Daniel, you had an Arizona question.
The
Yep.
thing that really is grinding me about the league, right? And
Right.
again, it's no offense to anybody in particular. It's really not. But we wear 9 and 7 like a badge of honor too often. We do. 10 and 6 is the lowest really good record in the league. 9 and 7 just means that you went 8 and 8 but got to play a shit team.
I think it depends on the state of your team.
It definitely depends.
Yeah.
If you are a first, like Nick would love a 9 and 7
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
don't get
That's
me wrong.
not
If somebody
Right?
took over a 2 and 14 team and went 9 and 7, I'm patting them the fucking back. But
Yeah,
if a team
or
went
if you-
8 and 8 or 10 and 6 last year and now they're going 9-7, I'm like,
Yes, if
What
your
the fuck
team
happened?
is regressing, I agree. I mean,
yeah,
you'd be like, well,
you
at least
may
I'm above
as well
500.
have just simmed the games and you'd probably have been okay.
Yes,
Like, I
but
mean, it just
if you're showing, I know you were talking about the half game with Stoops, but if you're showing even markable improvement, something to measure improvement, and you're trending in the right direction, the first time you hit 9 and 7, sure, that's good for you. The second time, if you hit 9 and 7, that's
Yeah.
you escape the losing record. But if you
this
do
is my
it
point
multiple
about
times,
Stoops maybe going 10 and 6 this year and somebody called him the most improved team in the league. Like, to go from, even if you go from 10 and 5 to 10 5 and 1 to 11 and 5, you've got a field goal better the entire season.
well, I was thinking about that. You made some very good points about the most improved team in the league thing, but I think who it could be that his GM decisions have improved greatly. His off-field stuff has gone really, really well. He has had 2 really strong drafts, and I think that there's definitely an argument to be made that his on-field presence in between the 20s, from 20 to 20, has definitely shown markable improvement. He's not. He doesn't use that. What was that formation he loved last year? His
Gun cluster.
God, yes.
He still uses gun cluster, but it doesn't feel like he uses it first, second, third, and fourth down this year.
Exactly.
Tyler scares me.
He's found his team. He's still figuring out Kyler. I think we haven't seen enough of Kyler's legs.
Thank you. Yes, 100%.
Can I just sum the whole thing up by saying, Niall, last year would you have been scared to play Stoops, and this year are you more scared to play Stoops?
Well, I have a shite PvP record, so I'm always a little worried to play people. But
More so this year?
thank you, PTSD, Matty Boyd. I would definitely be a lot more worried about playing him this year.
Then he's improved, right? Record or no
Or-
record?
He has improved.
Far too much of me thinks that you get out there on 3rd and 2, and I know what's coming from Arizona. It's not Kyler drops back in the shotgun, pump fakes to tight end, takes off 17-yard gain. It's going to be a quick slant to Kirk, and there's a chance it's going to sail through Kirk's hands and go out of bounds. And
See,
then it's 4th and 2 in the pump.
Zach's making a
There's-
great point in the chat there that he has a first place schedule this year, and he had a 4th place
Yes.
schedule last year. So
That is
has he
true.
still technically improved? I think he has, to be honest.
Also,
He has improved, but Mitch Trubisky, I think, has improved this year. But I would, if somebody asked me, tell me 5 things
That's
you
what I
think
question.
about Mitch Trubisky, the first thing on my list wouldn't be, well, he's the most improved quarterback in the league. Has Stoops improved? Yes, but to make a point of him being the most improved, I don't agree with. I don't really think there is a most improved this year. I think nobody worth mentioning. I think Adam and John have been Adam and John. Niall,
I think John's regressed slightly.
When he
John
loses his second game, yes.
John is taking the regular season not as seriously.
That is true. That's probably what
my
it
opinion.
is more
Yeah.
than regression.
Record-wise, I think he will regress. Probably go 14-2, win the division, get the 2nd seed or the 1 seed. Sorry, I don't think he'd be overly bothered. I think it is more John is more relaxed about the regular season.
Yes.
I think James Cameron is definitely coach of the year in Denver. The more I look at their record, the more I look at how he's playing. I think
If Adam
Yes,
or James Earls goes 15-1, I would like to discuss this, but otherwise my vote is going to James Cameron at this stage.
but again, you look at James Cameron's team; it's not a good team.
Well, I think you have to. I would say between Chicago and the Cardinals, I would say the most improved team, which are probably the only two that are in that running, probably goes to the Cardinals because the Bears are doing more of the same, but we are shoring up our mistakes a bit more. We haven't thrown as many interceptions this year. We've thrown some, of course, but we haven't thrown as many. Um, but the Cardinals are expanding their playbook. I think there is a bit of a stipulation, a stigma in this league about quarterbacks that bail out of the pocket straight away. We've had it with Russell Wilson. We've had it with, to a degree, with Aaron Rodgers.
To a degree, yes.
We had it. Haven't really had it as much with Deshaun Watson.
No.
But those three quarterbacks, all head coached by John, what you hear in the chat after that is you're not standing in the pocket, you're not playing like a quarterback, yada yada yada. So it could be that the Cardinals are trying to go for this more purist view of the game of I want to stand in the pocket and make throws, which there is something to be done. Mitch stays in the pocket quite a lot, but you need to know rather than this Stoops will grow into this because he is still showing markable improvement. If you are in the pocket and you've got a flat and deep out and a go, and they're all covered, just take off,
Yeah, there's.
run.
I'm not asking for Kyler to be a run first QB like what you're saying. I think that it is good that he's staying in the pocket, but there's times where he drops back on like a 3rd and 8. Everyone is covered, and the DBs are a fucking mile and a half downfield. There is nothing wrong with tucking, going, picking the first down up a couple of times.
Right, I'm gonna double down and attack the Cardinals even more now. I think that I think that Murray, especially in this morning's game, I got to watch the full game, but I was sat at the physio, and I think that he was at his best, and I would love to see him run about more. I really would, but I think he was at his best when he was standing there in the pocket. I don't think that's the issue with this Cardinals team. The issue is so simple.
My issue is still with the most improved tag of a team that's playing 5-11 is the most improved team in the fucking league.
But I've watched James Earls, James Cameron, Niall, and Zach. Nick, I would say if he got to the red zone more often than he did. But the other 4 or 5 do have issues in the red zone, and they're all sort of similar. Stoops' issues in the red zone are completely different. He is not having normal rookie issues. He gets there and he calls a play. There was a play earlier on, and John mentioned it in the group, and I thought it was great, but then I had to drive. So I had the game, but I wasn't able to reply. Kirk is the only receiver on the left-hand side, and he runs like a 3-yard out, and he's running into double coverage, so that was never on. And everybody else, it's not. I don't think it's gun cluster this time, but it's certainly like 2 or 3 guys in a bunch. One of them's a tight end, and they're all running like spots, parachutes, button hooks, not really good routes, all into the one area of the field. And I'm looking at him going, he can't snap this. So he snaps it, hangs about in the pocket is fine. The pass protection the Cardinals will get him this year is insane for the amount of time he has spent in the pocket. It's really, really good draft he had and acquisitions of offensive linemen. But he's throwing the ball.
Cardinals O-line is 2nd in the league.
Behind the Giants?
Yep.
Then Denver's is 3rd, but I agree with you.
Yep.
I have 5 questions for our guest.
Oh, yeah, fire away.
I have one point I'd like to make.
You make away. Make it away. That's what you're on for.
It might answer hopefully it answers one of the questions, but I just want to get this out before I get sidetracked.
Cool.
I think as a league we have an issue of trying to go too vertical all the time. We are put up as many points as you damn well can. If you have an empty drive, you failed that game, you might as well have lost. People are going second and 10 and taking a shot, not a problem. But when it's every 2nd and 10 or you're 3rd and 8 and you lay up a 40-yard bomb on a 50-50 ball whenever you've got a spot or something on the underneath that gets you, and I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, that gets you the first down, we are a league that looks to go far too vertical, far too much.
I can't tell if this is a direct shot at it's 1st and 10. Let's yeet this at Kendrick Bourne. or it's a direct shot at Deshaun Watson to any of his receivers.
It's not a
over
direct
in
shot
Houston.
at anyone. I do the exact same thing, and there are times where I will be 2nd and 8, and I will be trying to hit Burton on a corner route, or I say, fuck it, Rigor's in press, let's see if he can break his man and get on, you know? But if you have that kind of mentality, you're not really going down the rest of your reads, because you're watching to see if he is breaking his press.
Oh, when you see
And-
the backside corner is in 1-to-1 press coverage and there's no safety help, you are so right. League wide, there's a let's audible him to 9, and it doesn't matter what play I've chosen. Yeet!
Exactly.
I completely agree because I did it for 2 years and it worked.
I did it the year
And
I
it
had
just-
Brandon Cooks, and yeah,
It didn't work every time, and I think there is an over reliance on people don't want to drive in this league a lot. People want a touchdown 3 plays in, and I agree with that. Okay, I got 5 questions.
Yes, shoot.
oh here we
Number
go.
1, can you beat Adam?
Can I beat Adam? Now that is an interesting question. If I
It's a great
For
question.
you, for you, it's $1 million question. For Mitch
Yep.
Trubisky, it's a $24.5 million question.
if
It's-
I prepare well and keep my cool, now that I don't have Cordell Patterson giving away 2 fumbles every PvP game, I would say I have a fair shot. Adam is a tough competitor, and I can't turn around and be like, yes, 100%. I'm not like John. I'm not gonna talk like that. But I say I wouldn't count us out. I'd say we have a fair shot.
I like that answer. I like that a lot, actually. Question 2. Opening day, preseason week 1 next year. You drive your car to training, you get out of the car, you walk into the building in your Bears hat and Bears polo.
Uh huh.
Mitch Trubisky standing with the first team offense throwing balls.
Uh huh.
Is Justin Herbert standing with the second team offense?
Careful how you answer. Take as long as you need. I'm buying you
Also,
time now.
Another good question.
Thank you.
But I say that is a decision we are going to have to make in the off season. Right now, we are just sticking on what can we do this season? Let's win. Let's get as far as we can in the playoffs. And if a couple of things break right, make it to the Super Bowl.
Jesus, did I write that answer for you? That's brilliant. That was it.
Daniel's
Um,
PMing him the answer through the...
I've hung around you too much.
Okay.
What can I
question
say
3.
here that doesn't offend him and doesn't get the answer across at all? But bingo.
Because if Niall tells me yes, Herbert is, and then gets a good offer, he looks like an idiot. If Niall says no, Herbert's not, and Mitch goes down in week 16, Herbert wins the bowl. You know,
Then he has to get rid of him or he's a liar. Yeah, very good.
Okay, question 3. You play Arizona in week 15. If you lose that game, are you out of Super Bowl contention?
No.
Can I answer this one?
No. You can
No, you
answer it if you want, but I'll give my answer after.
Is week 15 the Super Bowl?
No.
Then he's not out of contention.
Yeah, any given
But he will go
Sunday.
into the playoffs having lost to 2 of the player teams in the NFC.
Vegas
you
will
can-
not be given any odds on him if he loses it, but...
Yeah,
No, but
that's
you can look at it as, yes, I will have lost, but I could do something similar to what I won't be doing it the exact same way Adam did in his game versus John, where he only threw like 1 completed pass or whatever it was. But if I figure out, okay, he's got these plays locked down, so I can't use them, take them out of my repertoire. Okay, let's go behind the scenes, plug in some new stuff, maybe figure out, okay, this play works okay, but if I audible this route to something else, then it works really, really well. You know, if I lose, I would almost...
Say that it would
I'm not
help
gonna
you
say
more? No,
I-
because I like it.
I don't want to. I don't want to say I'd prefer to lose because that sounds like an out, and it's like, oh well, he's already biting himself to lose.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
saying losing wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because it would give me an opportunity to counter and come from behind in the second game of the series.
I think if he loses to
A
Stoops... if-
slight, polite extension of that question.
Hang on, before you go to the next question, if he loses to
it's
Stoops,
the same question.
he helps Stoops get to the playoffs, so he increases his chances of seeing Stoops. So Niall's best crack at a playoff win might be to lose to Stoops in week 15, so it doesn't hurt him at all if he loses, to be fair.
Does a win over Stoops give you, in your own mind, a little bit more confidence going into a PvP playoff game? Maybe not
Oh,
against him, but against anybody.
Good question.
Any win gives you confidence. So yes, 100%.
Better answer, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm still gonna prepare like it's a knockout football game. I made the mistake. I will hand up say that I made the mistake this year against Zach, coming in 0-2, thinking this will be good crack, and it was good crack. It was the best game I've had, not just from performance-wise, but banter and feeling and everything. It was a loss, but it was a tough pill to swallow, but it was against a great competitor. And from that, I learned I can't take any win for granted. So even if I beat Stoops in week 15, I would still I'd almost be playing against him like I lost. Now, I'd like to clarify, I'm not playing to lose this game. If I lose this game,
I with the word, as soon as you said the word lose, people think certain things, but I get what you're saying with that, yeah. I see what you mean with that point.
Yeah, I'm not looking to lose this game. I will play Stoops with everything I have in the tank.
But whether you beat him or not, you'll take the positives from that game into the playoffs with you. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Question 4 and question 5 are both quite tough. I don't know what
Okay.
As long as they're both quite quick.
Four's a slightly joke question, so I'll say
Okay, go with 4.
you have 2 options, okay?
Okay.
You have to choose one of these.
Okay.
Option A, you make the Super Bowl this year to play John, and you have a 25% chance of winning. Or Adam makes the bowl to play John, you lose in the title game, and Adam 100% beats John, which means John doesn't bring a bowl to Houston. What are you picking?
I'm picking the chance to play John in the bowl. If someone's gonna deny the bowl to Houston, well, either way,
It should be you. You're the specialist at that.
Yeah, I know. Either way, I see that situation working out as a win-win. I see my favorite team, Houston, going and getting a bowl. It'll be bittersweet because it'll be underneath someone else. But regardless of what John would say to me, I'd be thinking here, Houston got a bowl. Hopkins, Watson, Fuller, JJ, all have rings. I'm a happy man. But if I'm the man to go and beat John and deny it, again, bittersweet. All my
It'll be a
players
national
don't
holiday.
get a ring.
Okay, so I have 2 quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
You've heard of Comeback Player of the Year.
Yes.
Who was the player who didn't do well enough last year that this year is bounced back?
Yep.
I want the opposite. Who's your come down player of the year? Who's the player that last year you looked at and thought, shit, he's good, to this year? Now, I'm putting 1 exclusion in. Or 2
Okay.
exclusions, sorry. I am putting in Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he went from having a player controlling him to not.
Okay.
Yep.
3 exclusions, actually. Anybody in the Oakland Raiders.
Okay.
Because Nick is an experienced player. And Andy Dalton.
Oh, I know who I'm
he's
picking
very
then.
similar to Rodgers, where I controlled Dalton last year. This year he's a backup. It's a slightly different scenario for him. Who's your come down player of the year?
That's a really tough question for a quick fire question. Fucking hell.
Do you want me to give you mine?
Inside my own doors,
Yeah.
I'll go
Ooh.
inside the Bears and then inside the league. Inside my own doors was Kyle Fuller. 110%. I was
Fair.
so disappointed
Yeah,
with
that's
Kyle
fair.
Fuller this year. I was really, really upset with him. Across the league is a much tougher question. A much, much tougher question. And I feel like it is probably a member of the Saints.
I think Kamara's been uninspiring
But was Kamara not injured?
twice this
He
year
was.
already, yeah. But, like,
I
But
was
again,
still bad.
does that count against you?
So-
Yeah.
Thomas has played well in PvP games for once,
Yeah.
but his gurning to his head coach and his I haven't been a religious follower of the Saints this season, so I don't know how he's doing stats wise too much. I feels like he's less involved. Also, Anzalone would probably be my actual answer. I feel like Anzalone got Defensive Player of the Year and has dropped off a cliff.
This is the Cardinals podcast, and I feel like 3 different times the Saints have got bodied.
It's about fucking time
final
another team
question.
gets bodied. It's usually the Bears.
Tell us what you really
Final
feel.
question. Yes or no question before you go.
Yeah.
If you
There we
don't
go.
win the division this year, is this season a failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right answer. And I don't think it's going to matter. Because
I
think the
have
Bears are taking
I
them.
have one final question, and
Thank you
it's
for
super
answering those questions, by the way.
it's super
No
quick.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
We're hearing vicious rumors from Chicago. What's the situation with David Montgomery? Because a rumor I heard from Ian Rappaport,
Very,
and
very slow.
now Ian Rappaport says that you're about to give the reins to Ingram, who has had 5 carries for 8 yards this year, 1.6 yards per carry.
Is Ingram the kick returner?
He's the punt returner.
Is the kick return.
Ingram
he
reminds
might be a
me
kick
much
returner
more
as
of
well.
Tarik Cohen, and I think Ingram suits that system better.
So why has he only got 5 carries this year?
Okay,
Is he the
okay,
backup currently?
okay. I will answer all of these as quick as I can.
Sweet.
Montgomery and Cohen were played in the wrong years, and that was my fault. Montgomery should have played my first year in Chicago when the O-line was still being built a little bit. It was a good O-line, but it was letting too much in the interior. And
Yeah.
with the playbook we were using a lot of interior runs. Montgomery is the kind of back to go in and maybe go through a tackle or two, but he doesn't have that speed. There's been a couple of times we've broken big runs, maybe the first or second run of the game, on usually a dive play, and he'll get into like the other side of the field, maybe the 30, and he'll get tackled because he doesn't have that explosiveness, that speed to keep going. You see your Barkleys, your Kenyon Drakes, Kamara, every other back in the game seems to be able to get motoring and go and get that. Anyone else, that's a touchdown. But Montgomery, it's a 30, 40-yard gain, which is good, but the points would be better.
Yeah, that's true.
Cohen would have been better this year because our O-line is given bigger gaps and everything, but we had other priorities to pay. I hope Cohen's doing really well where he is. He's a great player. It's just we couldn't afford him anymore. And Ingram is not starting at the minute because he's being focused out on training. He's being built up. He is a rookie, so we're just trying to get the kinks out of his system. He will be the starter for us next year, and we are also trying to show the league what Montgomery can do.
If I could throw one quick zinger at you,
I have to do wholesome content just before he goes.
if you could have your time again, would you have kept Eddie Jackson?
That's a
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Bubba Bolden is playing poorly this year on the field, but I think he has a lot of potential. He is only a rookie again, but
Plus, Eddie Jackson doesn't come cheap.
Eddie Jackson was looking a lot of money, and it was last year when we had just paid Mitchell Trubisky. Our cap room had taken a significant hit, and he was just... We liked Eddie Jackson. It was just another cap hit, a casualty, unfortunately.
Fair. So Ian, wholesome content.
Yeah, this is going to take like 30 seconds. So the wholesome content then, just
We all
quick
got
things.
by CPU teams, there's not much.
Barry B. Benson, the college prospect who starred in the B movie and is now quarterback of the Denver Broncos, is just fun to watch. I love this guy.
I don't know. He's went from the B movie to the B minus. He's all right.
He's not the best. I didn't give him a Pro Bowl vote, but man, the kid's exciting.
Yeah.
Number 2, Zach beat Adam. That's massive. I love that when Adam and John lose games.
Not a shot at Adam, but
nope,
congratulations.
not at all.
No,
it's great for Zach. Rookies beating the established.
Saying, last year that's seen as an Adam loss and everybody's laughing at him. Whereas it needs to be seen more as well done, Zach. That's a big achievement.
Yeah, Zach did incredibly.
And it's not like a rookie player beat one of the established. 200 rush yards. I mean, it was otherworldly. Speaking of that gets me to Anzalone, the timid one now. That brings me to running backs being involved in the MVP discussion, whether you love them or you hate them. Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida, and Kenyon Drake even have all played to a seriously high level for running backs. It's rare. The last running back we had win an MVP was 5 seasons ago, was Leonard Fournette. And it's always been quarterback since Dalton, Wilson, and was it Jordan Love? No, Dalton last year? Jordan Love last year? It's always been quarterbacks. It hasn't been a running back in such a long time, and I can't see anybody bar Barkley getting it. But I'm just glad that he's not running away with it as such. There's loads of running backs performing at a really top level. It's nice that it's not QBs for once.
I think it's got to be Barkley, especially after the Adam game.
Yeah. And it's not just one game either. Anytime they win, it's because of Barkley, and when they lose, it's because they can't get the ball to
Barkley.
Barkley.
He's had a great season so far, and then he played Adam and literally put 200 yards in the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually 250. Yep, it was 250 plus
Come
yards.
down,
Yeah.
Player of the Year, you mean?
I can't wait till we have Adam on. So what's the
playoffs are going to be a different flavour, Spicy.
So sorry, this was the Cardinals. So next up, it's the Cowboys. Stoops, because you've been on this week's podcast, that means that you lost all your games because we were waiting for it to be the podcast. No, you've had your podcast. You're going to be James Cameron and Niall did, and win all your games. Dallas are going to lose now. The Eagles.
Can I say that Zeke not being in the top 3 running back discussion is another come down player? I think Anzalone's come down worse, but Zeke is a huge asset.
Ezekiel Elliott not being a star might be the reason James doesn't win Coach of the Year.
Yep. I think he's doing something right if he's got that many wins, but if you're Ezekiel Elliott, you have to be frustrated.
For what he's the highest paid back in football, and you're not getting him in the game plan.
If you are Coach James Earls, are you looking to ship Ezekiel Elliott for like a first and a third round for this year's draft, and when draft day comes around, because you're clearly not using him?
Depends, Nat. Is that a question or an offer?
It's a question, because I don't have Ezekiel Elliott to offer.
So here's a question. It's literally like, we're done now. Anytime you need to scoot, Niall, we're going to close up shop now. Niall, do you think you could be doing better as a team if you had Ezekiel Elliott on your roster?
Yes, but that doesn't
I think any
mean
team would be doing better with Ezekiel Elliott, or maybe the
apart
Giants.
From the Giants.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think if you have Ezekiel Elliott, you don't need a 3 tight end set to get him running. You're better putting out 3 receivers, putting the defense into a nickel look most of the time, and just bouncing it outside and beating an outside linebacker for dick.
Okay.
Okay, it's been an absolute pleasure
game,
having you on.
Yes, thank you for coming on. It was great.
Eagles game coming on now. If you wanna watch it.
Yes, let's go watch
if anybody doesn't have time to watch it, the Eagles will win by 10 because James Earls is in the James Earls is in the podcast next, and the podcast gets everyone.
James will win by a game-winning field goal and pretty much clinch the East. And
the podcast is the reason why Niall lost to the Packers, why James Cameron lost to the Bengals, and why Stoops has lost 3 straight. James Earls, you cannot escape the podcast.
So are we getting news again next week?
Very well. We should be on before next week. I want to do the podcast. I'm not doing another power rankings until week 17. I might do a podcast before then. It depends on the pace of games. We're about to hit a load of PvP games.
Yeah.
Well, if you're trying to get all the player teams done before, I would imagine you'd have to.
Yeah,
we probably will do them like once a game week now, but without power rankings. Just
okay.
I'm not confirming this, but I would hesitate. I would guess that the next one is the Dallas Cowboys and James Earls. I would like for our guest for that to be Zach, because he's in the same division, and Zach is. Well, you played against him, Niall. You know Zach is just a million laughs a second.
Yes, he knows how to use a running back.
I would like to get to maybe double up to get us a bit closer for playoffs. I would like to get Adam and James Earls on before they play each other in the last day of the season.
Yes.
A little bit of like just pre-game spit swap and see which one. Obviously COVID related, but
maybe not
we'll
swap
get them
spit.
both on. So when James says, "Oh, Kamara's shit," Adam can then turn around and go, "Well, yeah, well, you don't use Zeke," and just let's let them go at each other before they play.
Media week.
Yes,
we are doing a media week now. No spoilers. It's gonna be good.
Playoffs. We will be speaking to you a lot more. But yes, thank you for coming on tonight. And the questions.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute QB blast.
I hope to be
back
the way
that you do the rest of the year. I think we'll have you on in playoffs. Yeah, we'll have you on divisional.
Yeah, I hope to be back on again soon.
Awesome. Good chatting to you soon.
Bye, guys.
See you around. Okay, so I've been Daniel. He's been Ian, and that was Niall. Thanks very much for tuning in. Like I said, next time out it's the Dallas Cowboys. We'll probably do it in a couple of days from now without a power rankings. We'll just do the Cowboys, and we'll hopefully have the Giants head coach on for that as well. Daniel, anything else?
Nope, that's all for me.
Cool beans. Right, let's stop looking at this lovely picture of Kyler Murray. Beaut that he is. And go watch the Eagles win. Hey! I really hope. Just to clarify, I do want Dallas to win. I do.
Dallas take
but
it. Win the division. That's what's happening.
Do they win the division? Let me just check. I don't think so.
In everybody's eyes, but mathematically, yeah.
If they win and Zach, yeah, okay. Unless Zach wins out, yeah, okay. So James, you're effectively playing for your division. Get her done, kid.
No
and
pressure.
Also, Ezekiel Elliott was just called out by like 3 people before the game.
Yes,
I can't
180
wait
yards,
to see
3
this.
scores, 200 all-purpose yards. The guy's gonna go off. Let's go.
Right. See you around.
Take it easy, guys.